My relationship with Doom has actually lasted more than most of my relationships. This show is intended for mature audiences only. Viewer discretion is advised. Well, hello humans, and welcome to another episode of Gen X Gamer. Today, Doom Eternal, and actually I want to talk to you about the entire Doom series and what it means to me. Now, I've been playing this series for as long as as I've had children, pretty much. This game is actually the same age as my youngest child. Anyway, I just wanted to give you a time frame of how long it's been. I've been playing this game since 1993. I mean, that is a long time. This was released in 1993, and the way that I came across this game was through a store called PC Club that existed back here in California. They used to sell computer hardware, and they used to have this section where my kids and I used to go, mostly my son, and sometimes my daughters would come with me, and we would go to the sample section. They had this whole section of little 3/4 inch discs where you could buy sample software, and I wish they still did that, you know. You could buy one level of whatever game, you know, and it's usually about, you know, at that time it was like $5. You could buy this level. That's how I experienced Doom. That's how I experienced Wolfenstein and many other games. You could also order stuff by the mail, and you would get, you know, your games that way, or you could get your samples that way. But, you know, I remember this game fondly because at the beginning, you know, during this era, I used to PC game mostly, and it was because, you know, that was all that I had access to. During this time, I would make computers out of discarded computers that, you know, my job would just throw away because they wanted something better, or they needed something new for new software, so I would buy the old ones at a discount and then go to PC Club and get peripherals, get different things for them, you know, try to upgrade them, get a bigger hard drive, you know, install a modem, things like that. Anyway, so I would tinker a lot with these computers, and I was mostly using them for games, right? And we had a lot of entertainment, you know, doing this. Not only building the computers, you know, from scratch, but also playing these games that we'd get at PC Club. And Doom was one of them, you know, and it was actually scary, you know, to some of my kids. They didn't want to look at it because they were little. And, you know, I would sit there and play, and it reminds me of that era, you know. And I would have these games installed in a computer in an office where, you know, my bosses weren't really into computers at all. They just needed them for invoicing and things like that, mostly typing, you know. And I would do a lot of clerical work, and during my free time, I would play these games, you know, during lunchtime, during my breaks, because, you know, you get stuck in an office, sometimes you get bored. Anyway, that's how I got introduced to the series. You know, later on, I would buy games that, you know, sometimes my kids would play, sometimes I would play, but it's been this long, since 1993, that I've been playing this franchise, you know, and it did so many things well. It took the violence element just a notch higher, you know, which I loved, you know. And before that, I was playing, you know, Wolfenstein, and when this came out, I was like, yeah, you know, and now here I am playing the ultimate expression of the franchise so far, right, in Doom Eternal. And what makes it special for me is because I reflect on all those times. I reflect on my journey, right, from 1993 and the things I've been through all this time. Not only the things that I've been through, but it also reminds me how lucky I am to have gamed during these years, because I get to experience how games have evolved You know, and people nowadays, you know, younger folks, they play these games, and they can play the old ones too, but it's not the same. It's not the same in the fact that everything's at their fingertips. You know, you can just click on a switch, hit a few buttons, and you're playing a game. It was much different when you had to do all that grinding, you know, when I had to build a computer from scratch, when I had to go to PC Club and get the disc and do all these things in order to play and experience this game. Now, during this time that I'm talking to you about, I was never able to buy a full version of the game, right? I just bought whatever level, first level sample that they had. I believe it was the first level. And that was it, you know, but I knew that this game was special, and that's how I experienced other games that I really never bought. We weren't not in a position to buy new games at that point. But we had a lot of fun. We had a lot of fun with these samples. We had a lot of fun building the computers, and, you know, just being on that grind, you know, and it takes me back to 1993, you know, and those humble beginnings where, you know, gaming was still relatively young. This is something I could never, for example, admit to other guys my age that I was that I was doing, right? Like, I'm still gaming, you know, like I'm still into it, right? Because they were doing other things. They were partying, they were into cars, they were into different things, you know, fishing, boating, whatever. And this was always my thing, you know, and it's been part of my journey from way back in the day till now. And now more and more, as I see these games evolving, as I'm seeing these games re-released or master collections, what have you, it gives me just the time to pause, you know, and reflect on all those things, and on the entirety of the journey. But not only in that, but also in the evolution of these games. You know, when I say this game is buttery smooth, you know, I'm really referring to the whole journey. As when I first started, you know, it's not the same pushing AWD, you know, to move around, as opposed to in an old keyboard, as opposed to what I'm doing right now is, you know, just flowing with my joystick back and forth, you know. And I'm glad to see where it's gone, you know, how the game has evolved in these different ways. And of course you can play on PC, what have you. But for me, console was always preferable, just because you can do that in your living room and it's a more relaxing atmosphere. But, you know, I can't look back without a smile, looking at those days in that office, being stuck and playing Doom and all the other games that I was able to get from PC Club. Anyway, guys, I just want to share those memories with you. Remember, never ever be afraid to be happy. Like and subscribe, and I will catch you on the next one. Take care.
Thank you for joining me on another episode of the Gen X Gamer. Remember to like and subscribe, click the notification bell, and remember, never be afraid to be happy. We'll catch you on the next one. Take care.